Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. This should be an interesting one. I haven't worked on one of these reels before. This is a Shimano reel. I don't believe it was available in the US. It's called the KisuSpecial. It's got the Aero drive. It is a carp or a pit reel. It's owned by a fellow in New York, and he's asked me if I could service the reel. So we're going to do that. We're going to try and find out how this reel is made and how to service it. This is a long cast reel. You can see there's a very tapered spool to it and a very narrow spool to it. So I'm thinking he's probably using it off the shores of Brooklyn and the like for lawn casting. And well, this should be an interesting one. Well, we're going to start by removing the exterior pieces. As we do, we're going to make sure that we take pictures along the way because I can't find any information on this reel. We're going to make sure that we document how to service it and take it apart and keep it fishing for a long time to come. Well, if you like these types of videos, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. And if you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. That'll let you know when we're working on reels that might interest you. This one certainly is an interesting reel, and well, we're going to see what makes this one tick and how it all comes together after we figure out how it comes apart. Very interesting reel all around. Alright, well, I've removed the spool. Now I want to remove the lower case so that I can remove the axle shaft. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws holding this on. It's a very light reel. It's almost as if it's a plastic case or a graphite case. When I take the screws out, I lay them on my bench temporarily. I do that so that I can make sure that they're all the same size screws. If they differ, well, then I want to note where the longer or the shorter screw is, or where the screw that may have a different thread pattern is. Make sure that that's where it goes back in. Every now and then we see these reels that are only sold domestically in Japan show up here. And the interesting thing about that is if you contact Shimano in the US, they will tell you they do not service it. You're kind of out of luck. Kind of interesting. All right, this one is smaller. So we've check that out. This one appears to have a smaller screw head to it, so we want to note that that's the one near the anti-reverse override and act accordingly. So that's why it always makes sense to do that instead of just getting a little bit reckless and tossing your screws into the parts tray and, well, maybe getting stuck because of it. Okay, this should come off now. Well, it doesn't. I guess we have to. That's going to be interesting to figure this out. Does this lift off? The axle shaft looks like you need to remove the rotor in order to get to the shaft. It's got this big thing blocking us here in terms of removing the rotor nut. I'm thinking maybe this whole thing will come up. I have to remove these shims. These shims are for the height of the line. And indeed, that's the case. Okay, so you want to remove the shims and the carrier, and there's a little washer underneath there. And this is why I tell you, you need to take pictures along the way. Now, my pictures are a video, but if you don't want to take the video, that's fine. Just when you get to a critical juncture, like right now, take a picture before you remove the pieces and parts, and you won't regret it later. I have kind of a history of getting reels in that I call reels in a bag, because folks, well, they jumped right into the project. They were really excited to do the project. And then, well, things kind of fell apart, literally and figuratively. I think I got to get a bigger, yeah, I got to get a bigger socket. We're going to turn this off. We'll be right back. Okay, I've gotten my automotive toolbox of all things. And it's not even a metric, but it fits. Looks like it's probably the 17 millimeter one. And this is a reverse thread. So it's coming out in a clockwise manner. Okay. Again, take the pictures. This is a good time to do it. Then we should be able to open this up, bring that off. That's going to tell us what we have underneath now. Now we should be able to get our plate off. We have a drive under here, interestingly enough. And this, well, it's probably going to get interesting. Okay, let's take that cover off, see what's going on underneath here. Oh. They're not going to let you do that, are they? Okay. All right, we have two pieces here. That should bring the case off, and then we'll take a look and we'll see what else we got here. Kind of walking pretty slow here. You don't want to run if you don't know what you got here. All right. Well, that'll take that off. Then we can take our plate off. We can bring our drive out. That's a pretty straightforward reel. It's pretty nice. It's got an old style anti-reverse in it. It's got a little clap to it. All right. We don't need to disturb this. A bearing goes here. Oil that. Make sure that we put that little drive back on there. We're dead dry in this reel, so this reel has got a worm drive to it. As you turn, it's going to bring the oscillation gear up and down. That does have a little bit of old dirt on it, so we'll take a moment here to clean that. We have the bearing in the back. And those of you that watch the channel regularly know that my preference for bearings is to oil them. I'm trying to get a little piece in here to push that bearing back in. I like to oil the bearings, not to grease them, because the grease chops the dirt. All right, just got that back in there. We're going to oil that. Again, we are bone dry on that gear, so there's nothing to clean in that one. We'll just apply new grease there. This has got kind of a bicolor to it, and I guess the bicoloring is because of the way that the drive, the worm shaft underneath here, the drive gear is in the back. And again, you'll just see how that kind of is working here. And okay, interesting piece all around. Okay, let's oil our case. I'll oil that worm gear. I oil the worm gears as well. I don't grease those. This looks like it's been sitting for a while because there's a puddle of grease on the one corner here. And this, just like the pinion gear, is basically devoid of grease. Seems to be that new metal that Shimano's using for their gears, and I'll get it wrong, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But it's a very lightweight gear. We can bring that in, mesh that into the case. A little bit of grease where the bearing is going to ride. I'm pretty sure I already did this, but we'll do it again anyway. Let's bring this back in. Always a good time to check the features and the functions. making sure that our anti-reverse is working there. Bring the bottom collar in. And go to your parts tray and get the pieces, the two screws that are going to hold that in place. Very simple reel. I would think that the issue with this one will be the parts, since it's Japanese domestic market and Shimano doesn't support the parts in the US. It would seem to me that that would be your problem overall. All right. This is not seated properly here. There we go. One more. Well, regardless of where the reel is made, it does need service. And this is why we do the videos that we do here, to show you all kinds of reels, show you how to service them, and how to keep them fishing for a long time to come. All right, the small screw goes in first, because that way I won't mess it up in terms of where else I might be able to put that small screw. And while I'm doing this, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you like the art of fishing reel service and repair, if you like to learn how to keep your reels in top condition so that they don't fail you at a critical point. Maybe you're landing the fish of a lifetime and all of a sudden your reel quits on you. That's never any fun. But if you like that and you have questions about your reel or about the process, or maybe you just have a general question overall, leave those in the comment section. I do try to answer those, and generally I try to answer those the morning after a video is posted. Now, if you have a question on the video, that's wonderful, but you don't have to worry about trying to find a video for your reel to ask the question. Just leave the question in this comment section. It doesn't have to be on a Shimano. Maybe you're looking at a vintage Mitchell reel. That's okay. Whatever it is that you need the answer to, I will try to help you with that. I just had a fellow call me and said, or he left it in the thing, what's the value of a particular reel? He just purchased one and wondered if he got a good deal or not. That's fine. Ask questions like that. If you have a question like how to set a spring on a bail because maybe you opened up a reel and the spring shot out and you can't figure it out, that's good too. All right. There's two slots there that need to align with the slots here to get the rotor on properly. This, I think, is going to be the biggest challenge of all, is getting this nut back on. At least it's a challenge for somebody who's got big fingers like I do. Remember, it was a reverse thread, so you want to bring this in by going counterclockwise. Go ahead and grab the ratchet. All right, good time to give it a spin. Ah, Santi, this one's a nice smooth operator. Wow, look at that. Like it. Okay, let's go to the parts that are the oscillation pieces for your spool. It starts with that small metal piece, and we have this piece with the two studs on it, and we have the oops, got ahead of myself there. That was an oops. We want to make sure that we take that tie down clamp and get that in there. Hopefully we will align. Look at that, it actually aligns. Sometimes you just get lucky. Now we'll see if we get lucky with that small screw for the tie down. I'm using a little bit of grease to hold that screw. Now we can go back and do this. Okay. the small metal piece, the bigger metal piece, the spool shims. Now this is a unique reel. As soon as I saw Aero on there, that's generally a clue that you've got the spiral drive in it. Super Aero. I guess that's just because it's a big drive. This is kind of interesting. You have a minimum drag on this. You do have a drag plate here, and that's a fabric. So this is very curious. You're going to have very limited line, very limited drag. All right, bring that on. Adjuster on. This one says Martini Porsche. I'm not sure what that's about. Rather unusual reel. Okay, I'm going to mount this to the left-hand crank. Sante knows that if he wants to change it, he certainly can. And we got the handle screws for the other side, and a test. And one of the things I didn't do was to oil the bail trip, so do that. I like to just simply use a penetrating oil on the seams of the bails. There's no sense taking the bail apart if you have a functioning bail. This is a huge bail. It's good. Oh, look at that. Well, that's a whole lot of smooth going on there. Very nice. Like it? Oh, look at this. So this is an older reel. We have a bang bail here. So it's just going to simply slap against that back and pull forward. That's an old style reel. I wonder when this reel was actually made. Judging from the case, from the coloration on the case, from the loss of the metal plating, and from this kind of older feature here on the bail slap, I would say this is probably a 1990s or an early 2000 reel. Yep, that locks down that spool. It's a 90s, early 90s, 2000s feature. I don't think you have much drag. I don't even know if you have a drag. You're just locking that in place. Look at that. Huh. So you have a no drag reel. A no drag reel. There you go. So Cast King just came out with one of them. It's called a deadbolt. And it's you and your skills against the fish. And quite honestly, that's probably what explains this anti-reverse override. Because if you do not have a drag on there, the only way to fight that fish is to backpedal that reel and then pull it in as you're gaining ground. As he wants to run, you're going to have to backpedal. Fascinating. Thanks for sending this one in. It's been a lot of fun. This is your Shimano Super Aero KisuSpecial 2-speed oscillation system. Wonderful. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed working on it and learning from it. Before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, EMTs, and everybody who's dedicated their career to public service and safety. And I want to thank you for watching, for learning along with me, and I hope you've enjoyed it. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing you a great day.